When is it too late to start dry January? Close enough. Today we're asking the question, does alcohol have to be alcoholic? So I'm going to start this off with a little disclaimer. I'm going to get in there before everyone else. It's very, very easy, incredibly easy to crap on alcohol-free spirits or alcohol-free beer, as you're about to see. But we do need things like this. Some people can't drink, some people don't want to drink or not all the time. Some people have made the decision to be a responsible designated driver, at least for the day perhaps. And some people sometimes just want to drink less. And all of those are perfectly valid reasons. So today I've got a widely available and I'm assuming popular because you get this stuff in the supermarkets here in the UK now, so it must be selling. But this is an alcohol-free alcohol spirit drink with no spirit. This is not a whiskey review. This is a review of not rum. So as I said, you can get this stuff in the supermarkets here in the UK now. So it's gaining traction. It's obviously popular. It comes in a 700ml bottle. It is 0 ABV. It is coloured, as it says on the label, but probably not chill filtered. If you look through this, it is hazy AF. But honestly, craft presentation when it comes to something like this, we don't really care. What we care about is, does it taste kind of like alcohol, enough that I can drink this and feel like I'm drinking alcohol without getting inebriated? As for a price, I paid £12 for this, £12 for a full 700ml bottle, so it's not badly priced. It's probably slightly cheaper than your sort of budget bottom shelved spirit. I don't even know if you can get any sort of full bottle of whiskey for £12 now, maybe just about. So while you could argue that £12 is a lot for a bottle of something that doesn't get you pished in any way at all, they have at least priced it slightly under the other alcoholic options. And I must admit, I've been curious about things like this for a while. I first started seeing, I can't remember what it's called, but there was a zero alcohol whiskey that was available. I think it was an Indian product, but you had to pay a horrendous amount of shipping to actually get a bottle, so I never tried the stuff. So when I saw this for sale for £12 in the supermarket, I thought, yep, sign me up for some of that. I want to see what it's like. Mainly, and I must admit, because I want to see if it's possible. Because a large part of me thinks it's not. Because alcohol, as you guys know, carries the flavour. Alcohol is the flavour. But with this being the first time that any of these alcohol-free spirits have been available at a reasonable price, this is the first time that I've been willing to risk wasting my money on finding out what it's all about. So now we get to find out. It's also worth mentioning that this stuff is 0 sugar and 0 fat. So it's arguably an even healthier choice than like a lot of soft drinks. Interestingly though, this being an alcohol-free spirit, drink, whatever, it's not exempt from the UK labelling laws as whiskey is, so they actually legally have to tell you exactly what's in this stuff. So we've actually got ingredients on the back. So I will read the ingredients at least, but I'll just let that focus so you can have a look. It's not going to focus because the camera hates me, but give it a second. Oh, God's sake. So yeah, press pause now if you want to read the label. But ingredients on this. So our first ingredient is chilled filtered water. WTF. It doesn't feel very chilled at the moment. But the way they've worded that, it's not chill filtered, it's chilled filtered water. Am I being trolled by this company? But reading on from that, second ingredient, and interesting to note that in the EU and the UK, the ingredients have to be listed in percentage order, so as you get further down the list there are smaller and smaller percentage of what's in the bottle. So the second largest ingredient is glycerol, Then colouring, which is caramel, so there's E150A in this. Natural flavourings and distillates, acid, phosphoric acid, preservatives, sodium benzoate and potassium sorbate, and salt. Also, one last thing that I have to point out that I found really interesting about the label on this one is the registered address right at the bottom in the EU is AG Bar, Ireland. So AG Bar is the company that produces Iron Brew. Have I paid £12 for a bottle of Iron Brew here? It's possible. Let's get some in the glass. It's come to that time. We need to do it. I know. At least you don't have to worry about big pours on this one. It's not like you're going to feel it in the morning, but you might regret it at the time. So that's what E150A looks like. Nice little reference. And to be fair, this stuff has got a nose on it. You can smell it. It's got flavours that you can smell, because I can smell it from this distance, and it's quite pungent. And it's not awful. So here we go. This is Strykk Not Rum, or possibly Not Ram, or Not Rem, or Not Rim. One of those things. Strykk Not Rum on the nose. Mild. It has flavours, but it is mild, and it doesn't really smell like rum. You wouldn't confuse this blind with rum. If I gave this to you, as I assume that you're a whiskey enthusiast like myself, you wouldn't smell this and think, oh, that smells like a rum. You just wouldn't. But it's got flavours. But it does smell like, it smells liqueur-y, like a herbal liqueur. Like if you said this was a new special edition Drambuie, you'd probably believe that. So mild, sweet caramel, watery caramel, like caramel diluted in a whole glass of water. There's a little bit of a plasticky note, a faintly acrid and medicinal, but obviously not PT medicinal. It's more of a plasticky, medicinal, sort of medicine cabinet note. And a strong note of cinnamon. I'm getting a lot of sort of spicy cinnamon, like cinnamon red hots, cinnamon confectionery on the nose, as well as a little bit of a cough sweet note. So, not bad. It's mild. You can tell that it's weak. If I was given this blind, I would definitely not guess any more than 40% ABV, but I'd probably guess that someone's done the dirty and given me like a 40% whiskey mixed half and half with water, something like that, like well below 40% ABV. Definitely wouldn't confuse this with a rum. But it's got flavours, and while they're not necessarily rum-like flavours, it's interesting to nose. So let's see how it tastes. As I said, it's important not to crap on these things, but the mouthfeel on this is exactly like water. It probably doesn't help that this stuff is a little bit cold. It might be slightly better if it is warmer, but the mouthfeel of this is very thin. It's exactly like drinking water, like drinking a glass of water that hasn't been rinsed well after it's had like Drambuie in it or something. Compared to the nose, which I don't mind, the nose is fine, really, but the palate is awfully thin. Watery water is what I'm getting on the palate of this one. Again, towards the late palate, I'm getting more of that spicy cinnamon type note, but lots of water. Thin. It's pretty watery. As for the finish, spicy cinnamon, kind of verging on like a slight chili pepper spiciness. So I think they've obviously gone with kind of like a simulated alcohol burn with that spicy cinnamon note, and it's interesting to try and figure out what that's coming from. You've got glycerol, which I think does have a slight warming property to it. What else have you got? Phosphoric acid. There's a few things in there that could be giving that warmth, that slight kind of fake alcohol burn. I'm not sure which one is actually responsible for that kind of cinnamon note that I'm getting, because there's no cinnamon in it. But you can see what they've tried to do here, to try and give it a warming sort of faux burn. And it does kind of work, but kind of not really. Maybe. I think all in all, it smells bloody weird, but at least it has got some sort of complexity on the nose. The nose can actually be fun, and while it doesn't smell like rum, it does have some notes that are kind of rum-esque, similar to rum, and it is interesting in its own way. But on the palate, it is so watery and bland. It's kind of like an uncomfortable silence for your taste buds. But I do think that we're whiskey geeks here, and we taste a lot of things that aren't designed to be tasted neat. A lot of people aren't going to worry about the mouthfeel and the flavours that you're getting through on the palate, because probably the majority of people that are buying this, and they're buying it for valid reasons, whatever their reason is, and they're probably going to be mixing this with something. Possibly Coca-Cola or Pepsi, or a ton of ice and a bunch of mint, something like that. So does this work as a mixer? My generic cola there. It's got to be done, because this is how people are going to actually consume this stuff. And I've chosen this brand of cola today because anyone that's been with me for a long time will know that in my review of Famous Grouse, I tried that as a mixer and I used the red brand of cola, so I'm using the black, red and blue brand of cola today because we don't have favourites here. If any of you thought that I was sponsored by one of those companies, nobody thought that. So this, I've mixed this up strong. It's probably like 1-to-1 because I can't stand weak mixed drinks. Like the majority of you, I don't really have mixed drinks, but if I do, I want them so you can taste the actual spirit. So that is about sort of 1-to-1 with the not rum and the cola. You can still smell it over the cola. And I think like this, it does smell like a rum and cola. I haven't actually done this before this video, so I'm really doing this on the fly. But it doesn't smell like cola anymore. It smells like a mixed drink that's got something potentially alcoholic mixed into it. And it's pretty good. Let's see how it tastes. Not getting much through on the palate. And I think that the carbonation in the cola and the sweetness of the cola, it really gets rid of a lot of that sort of spiciness. You don't get as much of the faux alcohol burn on the palate and finish as you do when you're drinking it neat. I mean, it's possible. But is it really any better than just drinking cola on its own? You're getting a little bit of a spiciness, a little bit of a warming property. But you're not getting much flavour. You can smell it. It smells like a mixed drink, but it tastes pretty much like cola. I do think that it's good that they're making things like this, and I think that it's good that they're commercially available at a reasonable price. but I also think that you can probably make better virgin cocktails at home already that are at least as good as this, or just drink like non-alcohol ginger wine, because I think that a good non-alcohol, alcohol-free ginger wine is probably more enjoyable than this, and possibly cheaper as well. In particular, if you're from the UK, there's a shop called Holland and Barrett here. It's a kind of a health food shop. I know it's full of weird, vegan, bearded, croc-wearing, strange people. But Holland and Barrett, they sell an alcohol-free ginger wine called Rochester's, and that stuff's really good. If you want a whiskey mac, or if you just want ginger wine, like ginger wine to mix with cola, that stuff is well worth a try. And to be fair, I think this stuff is as well. I think if you are in the market to get a low alcohol or no alcohol spirit alternative, like for whatever reason that is something that you're considering, by all means give this stuff a go, because it's not terrible. It doesn't taste bad. It smells decent, although unusual, and it tastes weak, but it's okay. But so if you are looking for something like that, it is worth a try. But I'd say if you are a whiskey or rum enthusiast and you've seen this, you're probably going to be disappointed. It is a worthy cause, but it needs more work. So let me know what you think about stuff like this. If you've found any sort of alcohol alternative, what's your favourite? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.
Oh,